So at this point then, let me go ahead and start the demonstration. I have a system running in the room next door. I've already begun. I've connected to the Cloud Management Center here, so I'm going to go ahead and log into that. And the first thing I'm going to be presented with is going to be the dashboard. Now the dashboard is just going to be our quick peek into everything currently going on inside the tigercloud system. I've got some graphs here to display the current status of my business continuity and any replication I may have configured. Below that, I have a quick peek at my resource usage, which is going to tell me how many VMs I have running or how many VMs are in the current statuses of either started, paused, or stopped, how much RAM I'm currently utilizing for those systems, and how many CPUs I have deployed. Additionally, I have some other information there for targets to be connected. Those are iSCSI targets, and then whatever remaining RAM and CPU I may have available to allocate. Additionally, we have our updates listed below. We do employ a update process for tigercloud, so as you're using the system, as we make refinements and changes to the system, we deploy those regularly in updates. To the right from there, we have a graph of our storage usage expressed in percentage, so it will show you how much storage you're currently utilizing on your system. And then below that, we have a quick list of any alerts that may be happening on the system. If there is something to report upon as far as the condition of a backup or a business continuity snapshot, or if the system is potentially becoming overutilized for storage or RAM, that would be reported here as well as via an email to us. So the first activity I'd like to show you is going to be how quickly we can deploy a virtual machine. The story I like to tell when explaining this part is going to be when you think about a business bringing in a new hire. When that new hire is brought in, potentially you may have hardware sitting around that you can give to that new hire so they can quickly be productive in the company. But in most cases, when you're bringing on somebody new, there's going to be an expense there to purchase them equipment. You have to buy them a laptop or a desktop PC. Besides that cost, what you then need to do is have it shipped, have it arrive on site, and then have one of the IT people for that organization set it up for the new hire. And that could involve activating an operating system or installing an operating system, maybe installing any applications they need, such as Microsoft Office or QuickBooks, as well as configuring that device for the network that it's going to be installed in. And that's a lot of money. That takes a lot of time. With tigercloud, with our templates, with our VM templates, we can very quickly set up a new virtual machine for a new hire. I can come over here to create a virtual machine. I can provide that system a name. I'll just call it new hire. Now I can come down here to my template and simply choose the template that would represent my desktop system. As part of that template, all of my configurations are set for me. The amount of RAM, the number of CPUs, the length of my retention policy. The disks for the storage for that system, again, are already pre-created as part of that template. That's going to have the operating system, all of the applications, everything is going to be installed as part of that template. I'll choose the number of network connections I want the system to have. I have an existing DHCP service. That's just dynamic IP allocation if you're not familiar with DHCP. And I'm going to just choose to use that service for this virtual machine. And I'm going to choose the create option. The system is now going to go through the whole process for me of creating that virtual machine from the template. It's going to create a slice of storage for that VM. It's going to talk to the hypervisor and provision that machine. Before I even finish that explanation, the system has already completed the process to make that virtual machine from the template. But all the technical heavy lifting was done as part of that. I didn't have to have a tech guy unbox a device. I didn't have to have them set it up. I didn't have to purchase new hardware. Instead of purchasing a full laptop or a full desktop, you can deploy a much more economical thin client to connect to this virtual machine. The thin clients, again, it's going to be more secure because all of the data is going to be kept on the virtual machine as opposed to having data spread throughout a bunch of larger devices. And two, if something happens to that thin client, if it's damaged or ceases to operate, it's much easier to replace. But now that that's complete, I can start this virtual machine, and I can very quickly get that new hire to begin their training or their work on their new system. So the next piece we'll talk about is going to be the business continuity through tigercloud. So we talked about that there are 15-minute snapshots taken of all the data on the system. I can look at those under the tigercloud storage, under the recovery points. I can choose one of my systems here, and let me grab this one here. And what I can see now is that, one, we have a listing of all the snapshots and the timestamps of those snapshots, and I can use any of these snapshots to either roll this virtual machine back, or I can choose to roll a particular volume on this virtual machine back. I can choose to export these snapshots in the event I need to have a fallback point for the virtual machine and I want something external to the tigercloud. I can do that through here. I also have a brief report of the status of the snapshots down below. It looks like this VM was turned off for about a week or so there because we have some failed snapshots because the system was not running, but it's since been turned back on and we're running correctly now. Additionally, if we want to apply that business continuity to systems outside of the tigercloud environment, we can do that through the business continuity agent. That is controlled under the business continuity of tigercloud. And here we can see we have a system that has a business continuity agent installed on it, but it looks like that system was shut down here because it is reporting in as not active. But what we could then do is, since this is a physical system that is outside of the tigercloud environment, we can have that system mirror its data into the tigercloud. And then in the event that something were to happen to that physical system, it were to have a hardware issue, or it may be part of a scenario where there was a disaster and a fire maybe destroyed that system, but the tigercloud was unaffected by the disaster, just access these files and folders directly off the system to get to the data, or we can create a virtual machine from that data to replace the failed physical server, and that system can be allowed to simply continue to operate on the tigercloud. So that would, again, greatly reduce your downtime in the event you had a physical system fail. The final thing I'll go ahead and show you is going to be the iSCSI storage. So in the event that you want to use tigercloud as an iSCSI SAN to provide additional storage to your existing systems, I can come under here to the iSCSI exposed storage option inside the CMC. I can choose to create my iSCSI storage. I'll just simply give it a name here. We'll call it Demo 20 since today is the 20th. I can provision up to 4 disks at a time. So I will choose one disk. I will create a 500 gigabyte slice of information here. I'll give the storage itself a name. I'll call it Store 20. Now I have to provide an IP address because we're using the iSCSI protocol, and iSCSI will provide an access control list based on IP address. And depending on how I want to deploy this storage, if I'm deploying it to a single machine, I can just simply give it the IP address of that single machine to access. From there, I can, again, choose the role. I'll just keep this as a data disk. And then, again, I can set that retention policy that we talked about between 1 week and 3 years. I'll simply choose to keep the default of the 1 week. After that, I'll click Next. I'll confirm my choice. And from there, again, we'll see the job log as the tigercloud goes through the processes to create that storage. And again, it's going to do all of the heavy lifting for us as far as managing the SAN, creating the storage, and then exposing it so that we can then use any iSCSI client of our choice to connect to this storage. And it's, again, going to provide us all of the information necessary to use our iSCSI client to connect to this storage. And again, that storage can be used as either primary or secondary storage. The system could be configured to boot from this, or a system could simply use it for additional data storage.